students, how are you? So welcome back after a short break, correct? I hope you are fine, in the pink of health, doing well. Alright, the monsoon has already set and I hope, well, it brings good news for us. It gives us better environment. It makes us more safer, right? Okay, well, those are very important things. Well, more important for us is also not to miss our studies. So we are back to study, correct? I hope you will pay attention. You have to insert lot of things in your brain and you can do that, correct? If you concentrate, if you are sincere, right? Because even small hardware in computer, your let's say pen drive or hard disk, it stores so many things. Brain is superior than that. It can store more than that. It's only your preparedness that is required. You should be prepared to receive. And definitely you have the capacity to store lot of things. So children, drive away laziness. Even if the situations were normal, then your school would have reopened by this time. So just imagine that your schools have reopened and you are back to your studies. Of course, you are studying online. But please don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Please let this time not fly away. Well, whatever facilities you all have, utilize it nicely and keep studying. Okay? So can we move to the next chapter? We finished one chapter earlier, right? Number system. Okay? I hope you all have worked well there, made a nice notebook, written everything in the notebook, even assignments are solved, and I think you have given the test as well. Chaliye. Now let's see what is our next chapter. And it's chapter number 5. Okay, 9th standard maths. And this is the title of the chapter. Introduction to Euclid's Geometry. Well, let's try to understand the title, what it means to say. Now, you know, mathematics is one subject that you study. One word is mathematics, right? It has many branches. As for example, when you started going to school, you learned 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you learned addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. So this, what you studied, is in branch of mathematics called arithmetic. It is called arithmetic, right? Then even from the lower class, you learnt about circles, triangles, different shapes, rectangles, correct? So all the shapes that you have learned was in geometry, another branch of mathematics which is called geometry. Then in 5th or 6th standard, you learnt about unknown numbers, right? X plus 2, 2x plus 3, yeah, y minus 5, such expressions which involved variables or unknown numbers, correct? That is another branch of mathematics which is called algebra. Algebra, correct? Alright. Then there are many branches of mathematics which you are going to learn in future, like statistics, correct? Then we have trigonometry, alright? And there are more branches. I'm not naming them at this point of time, alright? So these are different branches of mathematics. Ours is Euclid's geometry, means this. Yeah. In lower class, whatever geometry or so far till standard 8, whatever geometry you have learned was simple geometry. It was simple geometry. Now the geometry becomes little bit complex. It becomes little bit complex. What we are going to learn is complex geometry. And this complex geometry is also called new structure of geometry. New structure of geometry, or it is called modern structure of geometry. Modern structure of geometry. Alright, कुछ नया ही geometry आया उसके बाद. This was very simple geometry. It talked about the shapes, it talked about the area, different formula. Alright, but new structure of geometry was developed, which is called modern structure of geometry. Now, this new structure, modern structure of geometry developed, the major contribution is given by Euclid, a mathematician whose name was Euclid. His contribution in developing modern geometry, a new structure of geometry, was tremendous. That's why this new geometry, a modern geometry, is also called Euclid's geometry. Have you followed? Sure? Good. Alright. Now, what is there in Euclid's geometry? What is there in new structure of geometry? Usme kya hai naya? And it is complex. Believe me, quite tough. But not tough if you understand. And I told you, your brain has the capacity to insert everything inside. But you have to pay attention, right? Okay? Well, you all must have adapted to online studies. Now, you are doing it so since many days, correct? Sure. Children, did you follow the first chapter which you studied online? Number system. Children, you must give reviews. You must give your comments on my WhatsApp. Okay? Alright? So that we know how much you have understood. Is it 60%? Is it 70%? So we can always think how to increase that percentage of yours. Okay? What new techniques we can adapt here? Okay. Fine. Introduction to Euclid's geometry. As I said, it is also called new or modern structure of geometry. और इसी को कहते हैं Euclid's geometry. This is called Euclid's geometry. Alright. What is there in Euclid's geometry? ये Euclid's geometry में है क्या? Alright. We are talking about structure. So structure के parts होते हैं. My body is one structure. You can say it has three main parts: head, trunk, and limbs. Hands and legs are called limbs. Like that, if this geometry, modern geometry, has some structure, it should have some parts. Yes, it has 4 parts. So let's talk about parts of Euclid's geometry, or you may say modern geometry, or you may say new geometry. Right? The first part, undefined terms. Undefined terms. The second part, defined terms. Defined terms. The third part, axioms or postulates. Axioms or postulates. Fourth, theorems. Alright, theorems. So these are the 4 main parts of Euclid's geometry. Is that clear to you? Now we are going to discuss each of them one by one. Let's try to understand what is undefined term. Fine. Children, now you are in 9th standard. But imagine when you were in 3rd standard, you had a big group of friends. Alright? And one of the friend, well, when you all were having your recess snacks in the school, okay, you were having your snacks during the recess in the school, all right, one of your friend who stands in top 10, but he never stood first in the examination. He never appeared first in the examination. So he promised you all that this time in this examination, if I come out first, then I'm going to give ice cream party to every one of you. Yes, so everyone were happy, correct? And everyone were making efforts, all right, okay, and helping him so that he comes out first and you get ice cream. And so did it happen, all right? Examination was over, results were out, and your friend who promised, all right, stood first in the class. So now one of you asked him, come on, what about your promise now? You have to give us ice cream party. Now this friend of yours was very cunning. He promised, but now he wanted to skip. He didn't want to give you the party. So he asked, who promised? When did I promise? Then everyone started saying, Arey, now you are telling lies. Huh? You told every one of us that you will give party if you come out first in the class. So this fellow realized, okay, now everyone is saying, so I'll have to accept that I had promised you to give you ice cream party. So, but as I said, he was very cunning. So he said, okay, since you all are saying, I believe, I'll trust that I had given the promise. But I will give you promise only on one condition now. Okay? I'll ask you a question and you have to explain me. If I'm satisfied with your explanation, with your answer, then I'll give you the ice cream party. All right. Now, so he asks first question. Define ice cream. Explain what is ice cream. If I'm satisfied with your answer, done. I'll give you the party. All right. So one of the friends said, ice cream, it is product of milk, sugar, they add water also. Okay. So that it's a product. It's a mixture. All right. Somebody said it's a mixture of all these things. So he asked another question. What do you mean by water? All right. Well, now all were shocked. Water? What is water? Everyone knows water. Water is common. It is one term used for a material, liquid material. Correct? Everyone knows what is water. So there is no definition. There is no explanation. Remember, I told you all are in 3rd standard. Now, if someone asks you what is water, then you will say it is a compound of hydrogen and oxygen. Okay? So you can keep on defining. I'll come back to that. Okay. So what is water? Well, water is water. Somebody will say water is water when you are in 3rd standard. वो तो सबको पता है. There is no need of explaining what is water. Now this fellow says, no, I am not satisfied with the explanation. You have to explain to me water. So no one was able to answer. So he said, okay, you all said milk. Tell me what is milk. My God. Now this is same. It is a common thing for everyone. Everyone knows what product is milk. Milk कौन सी चीज है सबको पता है. So no one defined. Science can define. When you study in higher classes, okay, it is a mixture of protein, fats, lipids, vitamins, minerals. All right, and there is water also there. Plenty of water in milk. All right. Anyway, but you were not able to define even milk. So he said, now no ice cream party because you could not give us proper explanation to certain terms like water, milk. Yes, children, those terms which are common to everyone and no explanation is required for them, okay, to be explained, all right, for them to be described, They are called undefined terms. They are called undefined terms. So here in our story, you can say water is undefined, milk is undefined, even sugar is sugar. It is one of the product produced in sugarcane, sugar industry. Yeah, it is a product of sugarcane, correct? Sugarcane juice is extracted and through a process sugarcane is made. That is what you can say, but everyone knows what is sugarcane, so no one needs to explain what is sugar. Yeah, in higher classes you can say it is one substance which is chemically made. Okay, fine. Anyway, so understood what are undefined terms? I'll come back to this later, but these are called undefined terms. What are defined terms? Yes, those terms which are explained, those terms which are described, and their description is essential to understand that term. As for example, acute angle. Acute angle. So what is acute angle? You have learned, isn't it? An angle whose measure is less than 90 degrees is known as an acute angle. Hare, what is angle? Define angle. Does it have any definition? Yes. Two rays originating from common initial point such that these rays do not lie on the same line. Or you can say two distinct rays not lying on the same line and originating from the common initial point form an angle. So that's how you define an angle. So there are certain terms which can be defined, which can be described. Those terms are called defined terms. Those terms are called defined terms. We'll come back to that. Okay? Brief introduction I'm giving you. Now, what do you mean by axioms or postulates? Well, there are certain statements which are always true. They are universally accepted truth. Like, if you are living on the earth and on any part of the earth, if someone says, the sun rises in the east. This is one statement. The sun rises in the east. Do you need to prove that? Other people will say, yeah, it's true. Yeah. So this statement, which is universally accepted truth, is known as axiom or postulate. If we are talking about only geometry part, which is one branch of mathematics that you learn, then we call it postulate. But if we talk about mathematics in general, then such universal truths are called axioms. If it is a universal truth statement of geometry, it's called postulate. But if it is any universally true statement of mathematics, then it is called axiom. But now, you know, this geometry is also a part of mathematics. So every postulate can be called axiom as well. But just this is the difference between axiom and postulate. This is universally accepted truth. This is also universally accepted truth. But this statement, this truth is only connected with geometry, whereas this truth is connected with whole mathematics. Right, children? Okay. So nowadays, axioms and postulates are one and the same. You may say axiom or you may say postulate. Well, if someone asks you the difference between axioms and postulates, so you can say universally accepted truth connected with geometry, such statements are called postulates. Whereas universally accepted truth, which are connected to or linked with mathematics, are called axioms. Correct, children? So what are axioms and postulates? Do you want more statements? Yes. What is the shape of the earth? Spherical. Somebody must have said round. Correct? Do you know, children? Well, Ptolemy, a great philosopher, for the first time when he said to the people, when he told, philosophers are great thinkers. I've told you, philosophers are great thinkers. Alright? They have very high thinking power, due to which they invent or discover certain things. Correct? Like this philosopher, he discovered that earth is not flat. See, if we look at the earth, it appears flat. It appears us to be plain. Even after reaching height, you must have gone to Saputara. After Saputara, again there is plain region till Nasik. Do you understand? Alright? So that is called plateau. Which plateau is this? You must have learnt in geography. Deccan Plateau of India. Okay. What I mean to say, what we observe on the earth is that the surface is flat. So how can the earth be spherical? But the reality is the earth is spherical. It is round. So yes, everyone, in those days, that philosopher was hit with stones. Correct? Stones were thrown at him when he said the earth is spherical, the earth is round. Because people thought that this fellow has gone mad. Can't he see the earth is flat? The earth is plane and he is saying the earth is round. But now it is already proved, alright, and scientific proof is also given. We have seen the shape of the earth from moon. It is spherical, it is round. So such universally accepted true statements are called axioms or postulates. Alright? Okay? Now what are theorems? They are also true statements. They are also true statements, but not accepted universally. We have to use our logical reasoning and prove this statement. Since they are true statements, we can prove it using our logical reasoning. Now what is logical reasoning? We'll see in detail later. But axioms and postulates are true statements which need no proof. उसको proof करने की जरूरत नहीं है. People have accepted. The sun rises in the east. The sun sets in the west. Alright, the earth is spherical. Do you understand? Okay. Now, theorems, they are also true statements, but they are proved logically. Is that clear to you? Sure? Fine. Okay then, let us see in detail what are undefined terms. So those four parts, undefined terms, defined terms, axioms or postulates and theorems, we'll see in little more detail one by one. So what are undefined terms? Well, what is point? In lower class you have learned a dot is called point. Actually, there is no dot. It is just imaginary. If I hold a marble in my hand, that marble represents a dot. It represents a point. If I hold a cricket ball in my hand, that ball represents a point. If I hold a volleyball in my hand, that volleyball represents a point. Are you getting me? Are you getting me? Well, but this marble, cricket ball or volleyball, they are too big. You can see them. Point is like them only, spherical, but it is very small and you can't see it. So small it is. Okay, so it is imaginary thing. It actually does not exist. Yeah, we do call to draw the figure, we put a dot and we say that is a point. True. Alright. Now, what is line? If I hold that, let's say volleyball, okay, then exactly on top of that volleyball, I place another volleyball. So two volleyballs, one over the other. One I place below. Let me stick them with Fevikwik. Alright, I stick them so that they remain even. They don't fall on either side. They exactly remain even. Alright, so one on the top, one on the below. One more on the top, one more on the below. One more volleyball on the top, one more on the below. So imagine what is happening. A line is created by large number of points. Well, I took volleyball, but you can imagine. So what is line? Yes, when many points are together, they form a line. And if these points are evenly arranged, if they are evenly arranged, that line is called straight line. Because on the curved surface, if you draw a line, it will be a curved line. It won't be a straight line. So lines are of two types, curved line straight line, uneven line, large number of points associated with one another, each other. That is line. Okay, please. So, one cricket ball. Let me talk about ball now. Cricket ball I catch in my hand. Then on top I keep one, bottom I keep one. Top, bottom. I keep on arranging these balls, one over the other. One up and one below, one up and one below. So what is happening? A straight line is created. This ball, you imagine it is very small, you can't see it. ऐसे imagine करो. So that is line. So in a line, yeah, line has some part. उसकी जैसे आप arrange करते जाते हो, the length increases. So line has one part, line has length. But point doesn't have any part. It doesn't have any part. उसका कोई length नहीं है, उसका कोई breadth नहीं है, nothing. Point is so small that you can't even see it. So it has no part. Yeah, that is what mathematician explained. But line has one part and that is its length. All right. Well, you must be watching Man vs. Wild on the National Geographic channel, Bear Grylls. Yes, when it is getting dark, he prepares his bed. He cuts some fresh bamboos, all right, and those bamboo pole. First, he will arrange bamboo pole. All right, let me tell you, those balls which I arrange evenly, yeah, it becomes like a pole, straight pole. Bamboo pole जैसा बनता है कि नहीं? So it's a line. So bamboo pole represents a line. You can imagine it is made up of large number of points. Though it is very large, you can imagine that. Achha. Now I am placing bamboo pole horizontally. That is Bear Grylls what he does. Correct? Then he places one to its right, one to its left. Right, left. And what happens? A flat surface is created and he slips on that. That flat space that you got on which he slips, you can say it is surface. And this is straight surface because the bamboo sticks, bamboo poles are arranged evenly to left, right, left, right. They are arranged evenly. So it creates a surface. Alright. And it is a straight surface. Again, if you talk about Earth's surface, it is having spherical surface. If you talk about concave mirror and convex mirror, it has spherical surface. Alright. Anyway, the surfaces are also straight and spherical, curve. Okay. But here we are going to talk about straight line. We are going to talk about straight surface. Okay. So, how is surface created? By arranging lines evenly, one over the other or side by side. Is that clear? You may take line, put one line on top, one below, top, below, place line on top, place line on below. And if you arrange them evenly, then you are going to get straight surface. Is that clear? Now, any surface, alright, has two dimensions. It has two parts. It has length and it has breadth. Like, okay. Please try to understand. This is point. Okay. Infinite point. It extends. This creates a line. This creates a line. So now I will darken it. This is a line. Children, this was 625 to I think 365 to 225 BC. We are talking about Euclid. He was born in 365 BC and he died in 225 BC at the age of 50. Alright. So that is around 2250 years approximately. 2250 साल पहले की बात है. अब तो बहुत कुछ चेंज हुआ है. Okay. So that time इसको line बोलते थे. Sir, line is this. This is how we draw. Yes, today we draw line like this. This is called line segment and this is called ray. But in those days, line segment or ray ऐसा कुछ नहीं था. एक ही शब्द था line and this is how they used to draw. So they used to say the end point of the line are points. उसके दो एंड पॉइंट्स होते हैं, लाइन के दो एंड पॉइंट्स होते हैं. Alright, but we know it keeps on extending further and further in the both directions. Correct? Okay. Now, I am going to place this line. Okay, line. Alright, another line, up, bottom, opposites, both sides. So this fills up. समझ लो children, line after line. So what I am getting, this is surface. इसको हम अब कहते हैं plane. Now we call it plane. In those days it was called surface. So what is created when many lines are arranged, alright, evenly, then it produces surface or plane, and it has two parts, length and breadth. This is length and you may say this is breadth. Correct? Okay. Point has no length, no breadth, nothing. It has no part. If you talk about line, this is how they used to draw in those days. It has length. It has only length. Breadth, it doesn't have breadth. Alright? Because at the end it has only a point. And point के कोई part होते ही नहीं. तो ये breadth भी होगी नहीं. And if you talk about plane, now you can draw plane like this or surface like this. It has length and breadth. And mathematically you can say a point has no dimension. Point has no dimension. No parts. Line has one dimension. Line has one dimension. And surface has two dimensions. Is that clear? Two dimensions. Now, children, this single page or this board represents surface. It has length, it has breadth, and you can see the boundary. Boundary is a line. This boundary is a line. This boundary is a line. This boundary is a line. It has four boundaries. In other words, you can say edges. It has four edges. And if you look at each edge, it is a line. So if you are talking about surface, the surface, it has four edges and each edge is a line. Okay, this page represents a plane. Now I have taken one page. On that I will put another page. Below I will put one page. Up, bottom, up, below. Keep on arranging the page. Will it not become like this, like a book? Yes! It has become like this now, children. ऐसा कुछ बन गया. Now this is solid. This is object. It occupies space because it has length, it has breadth and it has height. Correct? ये इसकी length है, ये इसकी breadth है और ये इसकी height है. It is called solid. In those days it was called solid. Today we call it space. Not space that we find beyond the earth's surface. Okay? Space. You know, every object occupies space. So solids will occupy space. That's why it is called space. Alright? So, now this is point. This is line. This is surface. And this is space. Point has no dimension. Line has one dimension. That is its length. Surface has two dimensions. Length and breadth. And space, yeah, solid object, solid, have three dimensions, length, breadth and height. Length, breadth and height. Understood? After that, there's nothing. So okay. See, here I'm standing in a room. There are air particles, very small particles. Represent each particle as a point. तो आपको एक point कहीं ना कहीं एक point जहां चाहो वहां कोई particle मिल गया. That particle is a point. Are you getting me? Now I am thinking of particles arranged evenly. Then that forms a line. Now I am thinking of one line, another line, third line, fourth line. Well, that forms a surface. Now I am talking about one surface, other surface, third surface. Let's arrange them evenly. that occupies the space. So ultimately, line is made up of points, plane is made up of points, and the space, it is also made up of points. Are you getting me? So it's like the numbers, real numbers, सब आ गए इसमें. तो if we talk about space, सारे के सारे points आ गए उसमें. Okay, उसमें plane भी है, उसमें line भी है, और उसमें point भी है. Are you getting me? Sure, fine. So, children, these terms which I have explained, point, line, surface, solid, you have space, they are all undefined terms. But Euclid, during his 50 years of period, okay, whatever period, all 50 years he may not have spent for explanation or doing this maths work, has given explanation of certain terms which were not defined. They are undefined terms, but he tried to explain. He tried giving explanation of them. All right, and he wrote one book of elements. And in that book of elements, I think 21 definitions are given by him. I forgot exact figure. I'll tell you. Okay. Not 21 but 23 to be more precise. All right. Though they are undefined terms, he gave 23 terms, undefined terms, he explained. All right. 7 are given in our book. Let's see how he defined. First, he tried to define point. What is point? A point is that which has no path. That is how he defined. But it is actually undefined term. A line is breadthless length. Yes. Put point. Oh, length बढ़ती ही जाएगी. The length will keep on increasing. Breathlessly. There won't be any end. So what is line? A breathless length. You can understand this too. The ends of line are point. As I said in those days, अभी यहाँ अंत कर दो, end कर दो, यहाँ भी end कर दो, तो they are points. The ends of line are points. Today we will say a line has no end points. तो उसको point ही नहीं है, क्योंकि इसी चीज को हमने 3 चीज में डिवाइड कर दिया, line, line segment और ray. In those days they simply said line, and this is how they drew the figure of line. So it has 2 endpoints. So he explained in those days the endpoints of lines are points. Today we will not say, yeah, endpoints of line segment are points. That is what we can say. And a straight line is a line which lies evenly with point on itself. I told you, take one point, put on top, below, and arrange them evenly. Then it gives you a straight line. You understand? You can take here, point here, but they should be arranged evenly. एक ही height पे. Then it is called a straight line. So a straight line. So here he defined point. Here he defined a line. Here he just said okay, ends of a line are points. And here he defined straight line. Now what is surface? A surface is that which has length and breadth only. Surface किसे कहा जा सकता है? Which has only 2 dimensions, length and breadth. This is what he said. A surface is that which has length and breadth only. Alright? Well, the edge of surface are lines. I have already explained. Edges. Uska corner, uski boundary, uski border. This is, board is one plane. This edge is one plane. If you look at the edges, they are line. Edges are line. Alright? Well, if it is circular, like this circular if I, तो वो तो प्लेन हुआ, लेकिन उसकी बाउंड्री देखेंगे तो कर्व्ड लाइन होगी. Do you understand? Anything. So the edges of surface are lines. Alright. The plane surface, if the surface is plane, is a surface which lies evenly with straight lines on itself. If you take a line over it, line below it, above, below. And if these lines are arranged evenly, then you get a plane surface, straight surface. Okay? Plane surface, yeah, straight surface, plane surface. Okay. Clear to you? Did you understand? So these are few definitions. Actually, there are 23 definitions or 23 terms which are undefined terms but explained by Euclid in his book, which is called Book of Elements. Alright. Out of 23, 7 are given to us, the explanations, the description. But today, point, line, line segment, ray, plane, or even space, solid, they are all considered as undefined terms. Clear to you, children? Fine. Alright, so now we move to the second structure of Euclid's geometry, and that is defined terms. Well, in defined terms, we give the explanation of that term, we describe that term, we explain that term using what? Undefined terms or using predefined terms. पहले कोई टर्म डिफाइन किया उसको यूज करते हैं या कोई अनडिफाइंड टर्म यूज करके ये नए टर्म को हम एक्सप्लेन करते हैं, डिस्क्राइब करते हैं. Such terms are called defined terms. Let's see the definition of triangle. What is triangle? A closed figure. A closed figure formed of three line segments. Three line segments is known as a triangle. This is one definition that you have seen in lower standards. Am I right? So here, line segment, I told you, in earlier days, only line term was used. But now, we use line, line segment and ray. So here, this line segment is undefined term. Undefined term. And we have used line segment word to describe triangle. So this statement is definition of triangle. Yeah, any term can have more than one explanation. So that means it can have more than one definitions as well. Alright? What is angle? So here is one ray. Its initial point is, let's say, A. This is ray BA. Ray BA. This is ray BA. The initial point is B. This is another ray originating from B. This is ray BC. So we have two distinct rays. We have two distinct rays originating from the same point. Originating from the same point. But they are not lying on the same line. Look here. If I extend this, ye line. If I extend this, they are not on the same line. But if I talk about this ray and this ray, yes, they are distinct rays. They are distinct rays and originating, yeah, starting from the same common point, initial point. But this ray and this ray both lie on the same line. So two distinct rays originating from the same initial point and not lying on the same line. If they are lying on the same line, they do not form angle. If they are lying on the distinct line, different lines, they form an angle. So that is the definition of angle. Two distinct rays originating, starting from same initial point and not lying on the same line. Not lying on the same line. Form a figure. ऐसा कुछ figure बनेगा, which is known as an angle. Which is known as an angle. Angle ABC is formed. Correct? So what you have used here? आपने यहाँ क्या use किया? एक तो rays, which is undefined term. Correct? Alright, then point, initial point, point, which is also undefined term. So you use point and rays, those undefined terms, to describe angle. And this description, this explanation about angle is called definition of angle. Quickly now. Right angle. An angle of measure 90 degree is known as a right angle. Is known as a right angle. Children, an angle, you have used this, which is predefined word. उसका definition है, so we have used defined word. जो right angle define करने से पहले angle को define किया जा चुका है. Alright? So an angle, here no undefined term is used. An angle of measure 90 degree is known as right angle. So here, this is definition of right angle. What about obtuse angle triangle? Now we are talking about triangle. A triangle whose one of the angles, how many angles triangle has? 3. 3 में से कोई भी एक obtuse angle हुआ, then it is called obtuse angle triangle. A triangle whose one of the angles is an obtuse angle is known as right angled triangle. So here we used triangle, which is predefined term. Obtuse angle, it is also predefined term. We haven't defined here, but it is there. What is obtuse angle? An angle of measure more than 90 degrees called obtuse angle. Correct? So two predefined terms, already defined terms are used to explain new term, and the new term is obtuse angle triangle. What is obtuse angle triangle? A triangle, alright, whose one of the angle is obtuse angle is known as obtuse angle triangle. So children, these are defined terms in geometry. Alright, so we end up our session here. Have a good day. Bye bye.